Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Okay, so this week I'm going to talk a little bit about commercial real estate, actually, real estate in general, because real estate is a hard asset. And as you know, Greg and my strategy right now for our clients is investing in hard assets, assets that can help weather the storm that's coming. And real estate's definitely a hard asset, one that we've typically liked over the long term, but right now we're not so hot on it. And I just had a client who was asking me about it. He was saying, real estate's a hard asset, and he's a younger client and didn't really experience the 2008 real estate crisis, the great financial crisis. So I understand. I come from a perspective that real estate doesn't always go up, and right now I think that's one of those times. And so I started looking at some data out there, and here it is. And this kind of highlights why right now Greg and I aren't adding real estate to your portfolios. By the way, we could. There are investment tools, primarily called real estate investment trusts, that you can buy on the open market. You can buy on the stock market. So we could buy and add that to your portfolio. We're not doing that, as you've probably noticed. So here's some data. Now, this is according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. They're the top banking association in the nation for mortgages. And they just reported that 1/5 of outstanding commercial mortgages are going to come due in the United States this year in 2024. 1/5. So 20%. Let's put those numbers in perspective. There's currently $4.7 trillion of outstanding commercial mortgages. That means almost $1 trillion is going to be coming due this year. It's actually about $929 billion. So that's a big deal, because when those mortgages were originally made, they were made at lower interest rates. Now they're coming due, and where are interest rates? Higher than they were, right? And the Fed has also announced that they're not planning on lowering interest anytime soon because of inflation, kind of like what Greg was talking about in the other video. So what does that mean if you own that real estate that's coming due? It means, because your expenses are about to go up. Your mortgage payment it's a commercial loan payment, but it's about to go up because your interest payments are going to be much higher, right? It also means that there's going to be commercial real estate that goes into receivership of banks. And that means there will also be bank failures, probably mostly in the regional bank sector. But why would real estate go into receivership? Because, and we've talked about this in other videos, but if you've got, you're running a real estate portfolio, you need revenue that comes in the form of rents, and then you've got all of your expenses, and your revenue has to be greater than all of your expenses, right? Because then what's left over is the profit. If your expenses are greater than your revenue, that means you're at a loss, and you can't operate at a loss for very long unless you have a lot of reserves. A lot of real estate companies don't. Here's the other thing. With commercial real estate, there's two categories. One is multifamily housing. The other is commercial offices. We've seen offices, their vacancy rates are much higher because of COVID, because everybody got used to working at home, right? With family rates or multifamily housing, like apartment complexes, I was reading a report the other day. This was from Ken McElroy. He's a famous real estate investor. He was saying that the smaller banks that actually are remaining, that are continuing to make these apartment complex loans, are requiring 50% down in order to buy that property. So imagine you as a homeowner, imagine you had to put 50% down just to buy a house. That's what commercial mortgage banks are doing now for those multifamily housings. So these are some of the reasons why we're not messing with commercial real estate. When the real estate starts going down, that affects the performance. So if you're invested in it, you'll see the prices start to decline in terms of your value. Here's another interesting thing. There's a gentleman, he's a billionaire real estate investor named Barry Sternlicht. He was actually on CNBC last week, I think Tuesday, and he said, and this is coming from me, whose eyes are wide open when it comes to the news and trying to parse through some of the rose-colored glasses that some of the pundits talk about. But this guy knows real estate, and he was around during the crisis as well, the 08-09 crisis. He said that he's expecting one bank a day to fail. Regional banks, one bank a day. Then he kind of stepped back a little bit. He said, okay, maybe not quite that bit, maybe one a week or two a week, but we're going to have major strain because of commercial real estate. Okay, so if this isn't, reason enough to not be investing in real estate, let's look at home mortgages, all right? Home mortgages have actually continued to rise in terms of the number of homes that are seriously underwater. And this is from there's a real estate data aggregate company called Atom, ATTOM. And they reported that, so first of all, the number to hit to be seriously underwater is when the outstanding mortgage is 25% more than the value of the house. That means your mortgage is this big, but the house is only worth this much. That means you're underwater. And that number has continued to rise, primarily in the southern portion of the U.S., southern states, the southeastern part of the country. But those numbers are continuing to rise. So what does that mean? That means that if somebody's underwater in their home, they can't sell their home unless they can come up with the cash to pay for the rest of it. Or they default. That's not a good thing for banks either. So there's some serious real estate issues. Now, if you own real estate as a home, think of it as just a great place to rest your head, and you're gonna be okay. Just keep working to pay down your mortgage. And nice thing is, if you've got a fixed rate mortgage, you don't have to worry about your mortgage loan repricing, right? But in terms of an investment, that's our job, and that's what we're doing for you, and that's why we're not investing in real estate right now. So I hope this makes sense to you. Let me know if you have any questions. Also, bottom of the screen, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. We appreciate it. And with that, you guys have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.